Undertale is an indie game made by artist Timmy Chang and developer, publisher, designer, and composer Toby Fox, a man previously known for his work on Earthbound fan games and a webcomic called Homestuck. Quite an impressive feat considering just how popular this game became. There are many games made by one developer that are fun, quirky, and well designed that sadly go unnoticed by the larger gaming community. But some, like Undertale, are able to rise above obscurity and rock the gaming community. But before I actually go into the nitty-gritty of the game itself, let me preface this by saying that there will be no discussion of fandom. For any game, movie, or book, the fandom is almost always the worst part of it. However, its quality or lack thereof does not dictate or influence the quality of the game itself. Now, on to things that actually matter. The story of Undertale is interesting. The base narrative is rather simple, but the deeper narrative, the one hiding behind character dialogue and player choice, is what's truly fascinating. The basic summary of the plot is that at one point, humans and monsters coexisted on the surface. Humans were stronger, but monsters could absorb human souls in order to become stronger than any man. This balance of power kept the peace for a while. However, out of fear, the humans waged war, in which the monsters were sealed underground by a powerful magical barrier. Anyone could enter, but only one with a powerful soul could leave, and only the cumulative power of 7 human souls can destroy it. This is where you come in. A small child wanders up the mountain. Whether the reason be curiosity, desperation, or sorrow, we are never given a reason. But as a human explores the cave, they trip and fall into the underground, and wake up on a bed of flowers. They wander into a room and find a flower, named Flowey. It shows you the combat screen and tries to inform you of the nature of the world, a bit cliche, but fine. However, then the game does something clever. It subverts RPG tropes by having the tutorial character attack you and almost kill you, pulling a complete 180 on the atmosphere while simultaneously introducing the mechanic that, during combat, white objects that hit your heart hurt you. Now, if The Last Jedi taught us anything, is that subversion alone does not a good narrative make. It's the easiest thing in the world to give people something they don't expect. What's significantly harder and more rewarding is giving people something they didn't know they wanted. Subversions in Undertale serve the narrative, add characterization, and establish tone, whether it be tense or comedic. This can be seen with Miss Tutorial, aka Goat Mom who saves you, who quite literally holds your hand through the majority of the real tutorial, which usually is a section where the game gives you complete control of your character and allows you to explore mechanics and puzzles. And she actually turns out to be the first boss of the game, which segues me perfectly into explaining the key mechanic of Undertale. Your choices matter. It's called the friendly RPG where no one has to die, and this is 100% true. In battle, you are given the choice to either fight or act. Fighting will bring up a timing minigame that will deal damage to and eventually kill the opponent, while acting will give you a list of options that, in the appropriate order, will give you a chance to spare the monster. However, sometimes the solution isn't as simple as just going through the act menu, and you'll need to think outside the box and be creative while you fight. This is both good and bad. It's good because giving the player's choices weight also gives the player emotional investment in the world and characters, which are, thankfully, well written, and also allows for a healthy amount of variety in the game itself. It's bad because that variety is ridiculously restrictive, because there's really no point in going the neutral route, so you're forced to either go full genocide or full pacifist in the game. Which means that the game about player choice and freedom has technically a right way to play the game. One which forces you to either grind until every monster in the area is dead with the modifier that makes you less likely to encounter enemies the more you've killed, and the other makes almost every enemy encounter a slog after the first success. That being said, it's not that big of a deal, and even if some of the basic enemies grow a little tedious after the first encounter, almost all of the boss fights are phenomenal. And the combat itself is at least better than most RPGs thanks to its mixture of turn-based and bullet hell elements. The only real complaint I can level against this game is presentation-wise, and it's one that I'm sure you've already noticed. And it's that the game isn't very visually appealing. Now, a lot of the character designs are good, and the battle portraits are well done, but even the battle portraits aren't colored. And when the world itself looks so flat and lifeless, it just comes off as lazy. Thankfully, the audio design is sort of carrying this game, as it's one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in gaming in general, and the writing is so on point that you don't really care in most instances. Overall, Undertale is a great game with great concepts and a clever combat system that's let down in a few areas by an inherent contradiction in its design philosophy and a lackluster presentation, but none of these flaws is an inherent deal breaker in my eyes. For every minor flaw, there are thousands of other positives I could praise. When all said and done, Undertale is a pleasant experience that I wholeheartedly recommend. If you're into RPGs, enjoy meta humor, or just get a kick out of going deep into the lore of a game and breaking it down, there's a little something in here for everyone to enjoy.